Steelers Nation, welcome back to another episode of the Texas Steel Podcast. I'm Pierce Trexler, joined always by my boy and cousin, Drake Greenstein, here to dive in, give a little recap of a Week 14 victory over the Cleveland Browns at the crib. Big time win, 27-14. Granted, one of their touchdowns came in garbage time, should have been even bigger of a deficit. We knew what we was going to do in this game, come in, handle business. Never really did I expect us to lose this one, but just securing it, making it signed, sealed, and delivered victory feels pretty damn good. How you feeling at 10-3?
Feels pretty good. I mean, that was an average at best offensive performance.
Mid.
And Pierce, we won by double digits.
Without George Pickens.
Crazy. Without George Pickens,
Crazy.
I mean, I think that's just a sign of a good team, in my opinion. On an average day at best against a divisional rival that wants nothing more to spoil your good season, and we won by double digits. And granted, it wasn't pretty, but the fact that the final score is 28-14, I mean, tells you all you need to know about the Pittsburgh Steelers this year, man.
Most definitely. And a thing that I kind of liked more than anything, obviously, we want Pickens out there. He's kind of our alpha in that wide receiver room. But you look back to last week in Cincy, 10 different people got the ball across the offense. And this week, 9 different people got the ball. The only one that wasn't in the picture was George Pickens.
Yeah.
So, obviously, it's still very cool to see us. We knew coming into the season, very questionable at the wide receiver room. And this was every Steelers fan's biggest concern or fear heading in is what happens if GP goes down or things of that sort. Thankfully, we got Mike Williams. And can we just talk about that for a sec?
Yeah.
I was more pissed off than excited that he got that catch because I'm like, bro, this guy is doing freak shit like this, yet we can't find a way to plug him into the playbook. I mean, he's a freak athlete, incredible range of control,
That
making
one-handed grab
ridiculous
was insane.
sideline one-handed catches, and why has that been on the shelf all season? But happy to see that. I thought Scotty Miller, another
That's
minimal.
my guy I wanted to shout out, man.
Let's go,
Scotty,
tap in.
Scotty Miller. All the Steelers reporters were in the locker room. They were talking to Van Jefferson and Calvin Austin, and they were like, have you talked to Scotty yet? Have you talked to Scotty yet? Because, man, he doesn't get a lot of snaps, but he made the most of his opportunities. And I was happy to see that because Scotty's the good version of Gunnar Olszewski,
Oh my
man.
gosh.
He's the white boy that we always needed.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. And actually got some grit. Not going to toe tap the sideline kickoff and say, I was in. Run the clip. That was the problem. But obviously came up with a few timely plays. Van Jefferson finding the end zone again. What a play by Russ that was.
Play.
What a play by Russ. I thought.
Well, not just Russ, Arthur Smith.
I texted you that drive. I was like, he's in his bag this drive. We marched right down there, capitalized.
He'd been on his
7.
bag. I mean, 2 great performances. I mean, he took our complaints about that Cleveland game on Thursday night and was like, he went straight to the drawing board, and you could tell. I mean, since Cincy and then this game, there was some great play design. That play with the fact, I mean, actually, they were doing an incredible job. I think they learned from the Cleveland loss because they weren't keeping Myles Garrett honest on those shotgun.
He was biting a lot.
He was biting. Russ was keeping some, and then you saw in that one, Russ kept in the red zone, and then they came. He drew the defense in. Then Van Jefferson Jefferson just wide open, man.
Yeah. No, it was a dart, and that one, just touching on Myles Garrett biting, I mean, there was the one, it was actually when Russell slipped out the back door, it was the fake handoff, Myles bit on that, and then he just pulled around, and I think he got like 12 to 10 yards on that gain. It was pretty interesting to see that he's still got the mobility to some extent, but again, I thought Arthur Smith was completely in his bag. Don't think the defense played entirely lights out. Granted, they had the turnovers, they had the splash, but it still kind of just felt like
their standard.
Exactly. They're getting back to business and what I was expecting out of this team. Again, I wasn't over the moon thrilled. Yes, I'm very happy we won, but this was just, I don't know, it kind of comes down to like Ben's final year whenever we played the Ravens and then we had the Browns at home, win, and you're into the playoffs to go play KC. I was like, I don't even need to watch this game. Like, I know we're going to win it. And we went in and backed it. I don't know what that energy was or what the feeling was, but I kind of just had no thought in my mind that we were going to lose this game. So
how about 88, Pierce?
Anytime he gets the ball, good things happen.
Good things happen when you target that man. On that play, do you remember that his touchdown play? Russ, shout out Russ on that.
Ooh.
Did you see? So he says hike. He immediately looks to the left. That safety just crept over, and then he turned immediately back to move.
Bullet.
Zoom.
Yeah.
And it created that small window. I mean, we weren't getting that the past few years out of the quarterbacks, man. That ability to create that window with your eyes and then just zoom one. Shout out to Muth. Shout out to Russ. I mean, granted, it was a slow first half, but what else is new with the Pittsburgh Steelers, man?
Completely.
We don't really like to jump off to big first quarter lead, so was super impressed with the second half. They got better as the game went on, and
all you
really,
could ask for.
All you could ask for, and shout out Keanu Benton. He was the energy shifter.
Completely made the shift. Completely made the shift. Real quick, though, we were talking Muth earlier. I just want to bookend that one. How about him punting the ball in the stands?
Yeah.
That was just, I had that in my notes.
And flag.
No flag, of course. You mentioned it. You texted it in the group chat. It seems like, obviously, a lot of Steelers media feel like the refs are targeting Pickens and, like, obviously trying to have their way. JPJ as well. Just, they know that they're going to be feisty or bitey, so they're ready to throw those flags for sure. But I loved Muth, and that just goes to show, you knew Muth did that because GP was on this. He's like, let me give some love to my boy, and it's just like a camaraderie, it seemed like. So I wanted to touch on that because it wasn't just a touchdown celebration. I think there was a statement there that obviously he knew Pickens wasn't on the field, but I'm going to do what I can to get, like, some vengeance or have his legacy live in this game a little bit, which I thought was super cool.
He basically confirmed it in the post game too.
Oh, really? What did he say? What did he say?
He all but confirmed it. He's like, yeah, one of us is only going to get fined.
Wow.
Because George got fined and he's probably not, or get flagged either. So it just tells you all you need to know. They got a little bit of a target. I mean, granted, GP has done his fair share of kind of deserving it, but at the same time, you got to treat each call or each penalty or action as its own. You can't just have a bias towards him on everything. So, but I like that from Pat. Pat's a team player.
Oh yeah, I'm glad. I was a little iffy with his contract, just to his lack of production through his first. Granted, when we got him the ball seasons past, things did go well. It just wasn't at the clip that I was hoping. But when we paid him this contract, I was like, all right, we need to start seeing a little more production. And now that we are, it's definitely making me feel like he's well deserving of that money, because it isn't crazy top 10 tier tight end money. Like, he's getting relatively a team friendly deal to come back, and I think that we got him locked up for seasons to come. He's definitely our number 2 with Pickens out of the equation.
And since he's on this heater right now, I was telling you previously, man, in our group chat, I think he could be the X factor in the playoff run. Because we asked, like, we've been trying to, like, you know, Calvin Austin, guys have stepped up. You know, Van Jefferson's had his moments, but if you're talking about true consistency within the last few weeks, Muth has been the guy. If it ain't Pickens, it's been Muth.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's got a couple touchdowns. He's got key catches in, like, opportune times.
Third down conversions.
Yeah, and so, I mean, Muth could really be the guy when it comes postseason time, 3rd and 3, game on the line, or, like, need it drive.
Well, and you know Russ likes a bigger body, and obviously he still can work on his blocking game, but you talk about him in the open field, whether it's with the ball in his hands or creating space to get the ball. I mean, he can damn near seemingly do everything from a receiving tight end perspective. So happy to see him get involved. Wish we could have spread the ball. I mean, I know I just am a Darnell guy. He's the biggest dude on the field. If you just throw it up, he's bound to come down with it. But kind of switching gears, you mentioned Keanu Benton on the defensive side of the ball. I thought Deshaun Elliott had, I mean, it's just coming numbing at this point. It's like he's a TJ. Every week, this guy has continued to elevate and make splash plays. I thought he had Njoku in jail.
Yeah.
And, I mean, aside from that garbage time touchdown they were able to collect, I mean, he was shadowing him damn near completely. It looked like it wasn't even his assignment, but just had to give him some flowers. Cam Hayward again, like, all the guys, we could go down the list on the defensive side, but, I mean, it's clockwork at this point. We know Sunday after the game rolls around, we need to dish the same flowers out to everyone. I mean, they just continue to do their thing. Boswell, 2 for 2, can continue to go on and on. I thought the defense played a great game. But I think really you could see earlier the Keanu Benton was kind of the shift of the momentum in the game, obviously. But then I think once they kind of just had some self-destruction with penalties, whether that be on the O-line, jump and fall starts, things of that sort. Yes, the Browns. I think they really just, you could see the life get sucked out of them damn near after that Keanu Benton thing.
Missed field goal too.
Oh, that, I mean, missed field goals. There were so many just missed opportunities where you could tell they were kind of just starting to crumble, and for lack of better terms, they busted their load in the first game. They were not going to come back and be able to give another fight in this, but it just obviously that's what we want to see. And Myles Garrett's stupid ass. I don't know if you saw him afterwards, after the game. Do you want to tap into that? Hushing the crowd. But then
this is your thing.
Afterwards, he had an interview, and he's like, man, just whatever. Just wait till they come back to the crib next year. Yeah, because go enjoy Cancun, buddy. We just eliminated you from playoff contention.
I'm gonna just say that when it comes to the Browns, they always be saying next year.
Oh yeah,
they be always saying next year.
Oh yeah. Well, him just more specifically. The Browns as an entity. Again, my pops is from there. They're my second team when they're not playing us, but they've never really been as relevant for me to be too concerned. But Myles Garrett is just a jag-off if I've ever seen one. I mean, I just really am unfortunate that obviously he had the game he did in the home one, but I feel like for the most part, Dan Moore kept clamps on him this game. We were able to kind of keep him. He had that garbage time sack that really meant nothing, and like you said, he was shushing and all. But thought it was complete game. Obviously dominated the third quarter, but we head into the fourth quarter, and it's like, I don't know if we take our foot off the gas or we get more conservative, but why is Cordero Patterson in there? And the fumble near the end, like we're just trying to hand them opportunities to stay in it. That one was a little bit of a head scratcher for me personally.
Got a little too cute at the end.
For sure. Just go out and close it.
Honestly, my biggest concerns is I feel pretty good after this win, just given the fact, I said it before, but I'll say it again. A double-digit win based off of, I mean, that was like an average performance, and that was a double-digit win.
Without
in the NFL,
without our guy.
Yeah, in the NFL, Pierce, that's pretty damn impressive. A double-digit win is not easy to come by, let alone on an average day by your team.
Oh, yeah.
That only tells me that, like, at this point, we just got to be a little picky as far as what we get. Now, if we are being picky, because we're kind of splitting hairs on certain things, I'll tell you this. The one thing that I do think the Steelers, it's got to eventually find its course is, dude, I don't care if you have the best third quarter stats ever. We don't have a single opening drive touchdown. We don't have a single opening drive. We have opening drive scores, like a field goal, but we have not recorded a single opening drive touchdown, which kind of boggles the mind. Because if you don't know this, you do, I think. The first drive is the most scripted drive in the NFL.
It's what you're prepping the entire week for.
Yeah, you prep the entire week. You have they don't even deviate from the script. The first drive is entirely scripted. The fact that our offense on our most scripted drive can't really,
like 3 and outs to start the game.
Can't generate a single touchdown is kind of mind-boggling, especially now we're 14 weeks into it. Look, I know we're 10-3 and we're a good 10-3 football team, but if Tomlin's in the locker room, that's the number one thing I want to hone in on is I just come the playoffs, I don't want to fall behind and have to rely on a huge third quarter. Guys like Josh Allen, I mean, you saw him on Sunday.
Oh my God! Thank God they took the L. But
could not afford a single drive off. They had to score every single drive, or else the Bills were going to win that game.
Yeah.
And obviously we have a better defense than the Rams. But my point is still the fact that, like, if you find yourselves in a hole, you don't want to be playing catch up.
I mean, look at what their last game was of the playoffs last year with Mason Rudolph in there.
Yeah.
We went down 17-0. We're still able to claw and fight our way back and make it close near the end, cut it within 7.
Shit, every playoff game for the last 6 years.
Oh, yeah. We just can't afford to dig ourselves in too deep of a hole. I don't know what the slow start is. I heard the Boo Birds coming in on, I think it was either the third or fourth consecutive 3 and out or just lackluster drive that we had to start this game. One thing I know, obviously we want to see the points come in the first quarter, but we have still yet to give up a point in the third quarter of any game this year.
Wait, a single point?
Single point.
Not even a field goal?
Not even a field goal. This entire season.
That's insane.
Have not given up. So you talk about, we touched on this a little bit last week in Cincy and just the adjustments that are made. I think we do a very, very good job at that. Obviously, you could see the third quarter, we kind of torched it. By the fourth quarter, this game was on ice. And so I like to see Arthur Smith, Terrell Austin making the certain adjustments offensively and defensively to match the circumstance of the game. I thought we've done that incredibly well throughout the stretch of the season. But, yeah, definitely need to find ways to start hot sooner just because obviously come December, I guess we're in December, come January, February football, if we can make the push, that stuff's not going to get it done.
You just don't want to be playing behind against Patrick Mahomes.
No.
Just put it that way.
And again, we can talk Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs there's like some sort of dark energy that keeps them in every game. I don't understand.
It's that Steelers 2020 energy, bro.
We
were just finding any way to get lucky wins, man.
I mean, first it's a blocked field goal to win it, and then it was the refs bailing them out. That was a couple of them. Refs bailing them out of some, but then this one was a doink in. Are you kidding?
A doink in.
With a backup kicker, they're only going to get healthier. Harrison Butker should be back, and it's so frustrating to see them because truly, that was one of the last ones that I could have realistically seen them drop. I'm gonna pull up the Chiefs' schedule, but like aside from that one, they got they got a decently tough stretch down this road. They got the Browns next week.
Away.
Which, Browns in Cleveland. Then they got the Texans at the crib. And then they have us on the road. And then they finish the season on the road in Denver, which is going to be...
Denver's playing for a playoff spot.
Exactly, which is going to be a tough one. The Bills, I'll go pull up their schedule real quick. Obviously, we knew it's a lot easier, but the one that was tough was the one that they ended up losing. They still got to play the Lions, the Patriots, and the Jets. So if they can... take an L in either... No, I mean, it's going to have to be the Lions game. So they got the Lions on the road, mind you. Then they got the Patriots at home, Jets at home, Patriots on the road. So obviously, I mean, Drake May could have a little stat fest, and obviously they're playing for nothing but trying to spoil a division rival season or seeding in the playoffs. Definitely think the Lions is not going to be a cakewalk for them. So... Knew coming into this week, the Rams was one of their best 2 chances to take an L. Thankfully, they did that, but Josh Allen looks like an MVP, bro.
Oh, yeah, he's incredible.
Absolutely tough. So, obviously, we kind of flipped the page heading into next week on the road against Philly, which, to be honest, everyone was thinking this is going to be the biggest test, one of the toughest ones, but they just squeaked it out against Carolina, which, not to say it ain't any given Sunday, but it's definitely... making me feel a little more reassured that they're not as crazy of a pedigree of a juggernaut like the Lions or some of these other teams. Like, hell, even the Bills. I think the Bills are the best in the AFC, and I think the Lions are best in the NFC. And I think maybe it's not as interchangeable as you think with the Chiefs for the AFC or the Eagles. I think those 2 teams are stratospheres above kind of the rest. And so I'm not as worried going into this Eagles game. Don't get me wrong, it's going to be a dogfight. And I've shot this one in the group chat earlier. You may remember it off memory from what I said. Last time we've beaten the Eagles in Philly.
Oh, it was like the 60s, right? Something like
1965, y'all.
Yeah.
And there have been 10 outings out in Philly. So that's 10 L's in a row.
Yeah.
If you don't tell me streaks are meant to be broken, I mean, this one seems like... how long can you continue to pull the short end of the stick? I mean, obviously, the dam's going to break eventually. Think Tomlin's using that statistic as bulletin board material. We'll see in the Hard Knocks episode next week to see
tomorrow.
Real quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
But got to go in there, got to go in swinging, and cannot afford to start slow, to your point.
No.
But real quick, obviously, vibes are up after that one, 10-3. But... haven't really addressed with you guys on the pod. We touched on it a little on the Instagram. How are you feeling about the Hard Knocks, bro?
Oh, it is incredible. I mean, always knew Coach Tomlin was a good coach, but it was cool to see him in the dynamic of, like, look, I know Tomlin's a great coach, but, like, high IQ. Like, him breaking down the X's and O's with the coaches.
With a bag of Fritos and his feet kicked up. Yeah.
And I loved, you know, as Steeler fans, we know the cliches of all of his different sayings. For people outside of Steeler Nation, they don't think they're cliches. They just think, oh, that's a funny saying. But for us, we hear all the time, like, I want prisoners, not hostages. That stuff gets old to us. But then once you see an in-depth, a closer look at, like, no, Tomlin knows what he's doing, bro.
Oh, yeah.
He's not just what some people like to call him, a cheerleader, outside looking in.
Oh, yeah.
You know, just cheering
just
the guys
a motivator.
on. No, this guy knows his stuff. And it was cool to see him breaking down film with Minka. And then also the personal coaching to, like, GP. When he looks at GP after the first pick and he challenges him, he's like, this play is not going to define the game. There's plenty of football left. And he's like, look at me. And GP's like, yes, sir. It commands his respect. And he did that something similar to Marquise Pouncey. Like, when Pouncey was a rookie, there's some great NFL footage of that. And then the way he challenged Nick Herbig, Pierce.
They brought Hollywood Brown in here because Alex Highsmith had a heyday last season.
Exactly.
Oh, so insane. But he knows how to push the buttons of the players, like you were saying.
Yeah,
most definitely.
And to see him as, like, honestly, like a savvy X's and O guy, you don't really get to see that. Tomlin, like, he breaks down the game in his post-game pressers, but he doesn't give you, like, the meat on the bones that you want to hear. But then when he's talking to Terrell Austin and Hard Knocks, you're like, oh, he does, like, he has a full-fledged game plan on how he wants to handle Burrow. Like, he had his Burrow play. They had a whole slide called How We're Going to Handle Burrow. And I loved that, man. It got me fired up as they did the split screen between Cincy and Pittsburgh.
Prepping for it.
Yeah, it was incredible. It was chef's kiss, and I think we're going to be the feature team in this Hard Knocks because we're first in division.
Oh, yeah. And we keep winning.
Yeah, and
all the other teams are losing.
Two teams that are the Browns are officially eliminated, but the Bengals are all but eliminated.
Well, let's see. They play the Cowboys tonight. Let's see if there's a score check on that one. I obviously got to be pulling for the boys just because we never like to see the Bengals win. Let's see, 7-0 already. I mean, let them cook. Bengals got the ball driving at midfield right about now, but obviously another L basically stamps the end of their season.
Yeah,
Or I think it would mathematically,
stamped,
But I think it's just cool across the board. Again, being homers, having a more critical eye on our team. We always like to think Tomlin was the best, or that we just Steelers as a whole have the best aura and kind of just performance legacy in the entire AFC North. And I think this really put it to fruition and made it true, just because you look at the different locker rooms. I mean, McPherson trying to get his guys going, Shanahan, hell, even Harbaugh. Like, they couldn't they couldn't motivate me to make a sandwich type shit. And I hear Tomlin saying some shit, and I'm like, dude, put a helmet on, I'll go to war for you type shit. So it's just...
Dude, I was, Deke. I was listening to Deke's recap, and Deke was like, honestly, that offensive line coach for Cleveland kind of was like,
cringe.
Bro, that's kind of cringe. Like cussing out F. Like, you got to F and set the tone, man. I was like, honestly, like, that was kind of cringe.
I agree.
I thought it was kind of extra. Like, if anything, I'm listening to Tomlin kind of shoot us straight, but also command the respect and the attention of everyone, but not in a cringy way where he's cussing and, like, saying, you mother effers, and I'm like, okay, bro.
I don't think a lot of people find motivation getting sworn at and stuff like that, but, I mean, that's why they're the bottom feeder of the AFL, or AFC North. Good Lord. But, obviously, it's very exciting. First episode was a banger. Second one coming out tomorrow, and cannot wait for it. This should tap into all the details that we just finished wrapping up with this Browns recap. So, anything else you want to get into before we head out?
No, second episode drops tomorrow, and then we'll do a preview. Eagles should be a fun one. GP on the injury.
We'll see if he can get back.
I don't know if they're playing it safe, but...
Or maybe trying to have the Eagles not prepare for him, and then boom, just throw him out there.
Now he's active, so you never know. But looking forward to that one. And Tuesday, man. Tuesday at 7 o'clock, you know what we're going to be doing.
Yes, sir. Let's go. Well, you guys tune in. Enjoy this episode. Enjoy the Hard Knocks episode to follow tomorrow. And thirdly, enjoy watching the Bengals get clapped tonight by the Cowboys. But until next time, Steeler Nation, you guys hold it down. Wave those towels. And here we go, Steelers. Here we go.